Have you ever felt that uncomfortable heaviness in your stomach that just won't go away, no matter how much fiber or water you consume? For many of us in our 70s and beyond, constipation becomes an unwelcome companion, often brushed off as an inevitable part of getting older. But here's a question you might not have heard before. What if there's a little-known technique that can naturally support regularity, reduce straining, and even lift your spirits? It's something most folks over 75 rarely hear about, yet it holds remarkable potential for easing constipation in a gentle, empowering way. I've met countless friends in their late 60s, 70s, and 80s who quietly endure the discomfort and embarrassment of irregular bowel movements. Some rely on over-the-counter remedies or prescription laxatives. Others simply wait it out. In either case, the results can be inconsistent, and side effects, from gas and bloating to stomach cramps, only complicate things further. This struggle might sound familiar to you or someone you care about, and it matters because chronic constipation doesn't just affect what happens in the bathroom. It can impact your daily energy, mood, and willingness to stay active. If you're constantly worried about discomfort or feel weighed down, you may avoid social outings, skip events you used to enjoy, and feel less confident in your body overall. Here's the good news. Even if you've been dealing with constipation for years, there's hope. In a moment, I'm going to share 3 key strategies you can begin exploring right away. They build upon a secret technique that addresses constipation from a fresh angle, one that's often overlooked by traditional advice focusing on fiber, hydration, and laxatives alone. By the end of our conversation, you'll see how combining small, mindful changes in daily habits with this gentle method can support better digestion, bring relief, and revive the sense of freedom that comes from a calm, well-functioning body. As someone who spent years speaking with older adults, reading up on new research, and testing these ideas alongside experienced healthcare professionals, I've seen firsthand how a holistic approach can make a real difference. While I'm no doctor, I respect the wisdom of medical professionals and encourage you to speak with them before trying new techniques, especially if you have underlying conditions. But I can say with confidence that a surprising number of seniors have found these strategies beneficial, whether they live independently or in a retirement community. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to reflect on your own situation. How often do you find yourself thinking about or worrying about your digestion? Do you ever feel that nagging concern just before you leave the house, unsure of whether your bowels will cooperate? If so, you're not alone. Take a moment now to imagine how your days would look if that worry were eased. Keep that image of freedom in mind as we explore our first major insight into turning the tide on constipation. Let's begin by shaking up a common assumption we've been taught for years, that constipation is something you just have to accept as you grow older. You might be surprised at what a simple shift in the way you sit, breathe, and move throughout the day can do to help wake up your digestive system. You may have heard doctors, friends, or even advertisements say that once you're in your mid-70s, your bowels inevitably slow down, and there's nothing much you can do beyond adding more prunes to your diet. Of course, diet matters, but the idea that constipation is an unchangeable fact of aging is a misconception that can hold us back. I know a gentleman named Carl who's 78. For the longest time, he believed that daily discomfort and laxatives were simply part of life after retirement. He tried all sorts of supplements, fiber bars, and special teas, but never found consistent relief. Carl had always assumed that his lack of energy and occasional irritability were just signs of getting older. Then, during a routine checkup, he mentioned his bowel troubles to a physical therapist. This therapist asked Carl about his posture when he used the bathroom and suggested using a small footstool. At first, Carl laughed. He'd never considered that how we position our bodies could impact our colon. But he gave it a try. By placing his feet on a low stool to slightly raise his knees, he found that moving his bowels became much easier and more complete. No straining, no frustration, just a smoother routine. The surprising insight behind this approach is that our bodies were designed to eliminate more effectively in a squatting position. When you raise your knees a bit, it can help straighten the lower part of the colon, allowing for an easier flow. While this might seem simple, it's often overlooked by many healthcare professionals who focus more on medications than on the mechanics of elimination. If you want to give this a shot, start by finding a stable, low footstool that elevates your knees a few inches above your hips while sitting on the toilet. Adjust it until it feels comfortable and secure. Keep your back supported if you need to, and take some slow, deep breaths before you begin. If you find your muscles are still tight or you tend to tense up, spend a few seconds relaxing your belly. Some people even hum a favorite tune to encourage a more relaxed atmosphere. It might sound funny, but a calm mind can lead to a calmer body. From a physical standpoint, this small shift can help reduce the need for straining, which in turn protects your pelvic floor muscles. That can be a big deal if you've struggled with bladder leaks or concerns about hemorrhoids. Emotionally, you might notice a new sense of confidence. Constipation can chip away at our self-assurance, making us feel less in control of our bodies. By discovering a gentle technique that works in harmony with your natural anatomy, you'll likely find it easier to trust your own digestion process. A more predictable routine can open the door to spontaneity, day trips, brunches with friends, and family gatherings without the nagging worry about needing a bathroom break when your system isn't cooperating. If you're skeptical, that's perfectly normal. Give it a try for a few weeks, see how your body responds, and then decide if it's worth continuing. And remember, if you ever feel persistent pain or unusual symptoms, bring it up to your healthcare provider. For now, though, you might find that adding a footstool is a powerful first step toward better regularity. Before we move on to the next insight, take a moment to consider, do you ever notice yourself straining or feeling uncomfortable on the toilet? Is there a small footstool around your home you could repurpose? Or a simple phone book stacked on the floor if you'd prefer not to buy new items? If you're feeling adventurous, go ahead and set it up today. You might be surprised at the difference one small change can make. Another common assumption we've been led to believe is that constipation is primarily about what we eat. Now, don't get me wrong. Fiber intake, hydration, and balanced meals are incredibly important. But focusing on diet alone can overshadow a broader factor that often goes unnoticed: our body's natural rhythms and how stress can disrupt them. Let me share the story of Betty, age 82, who'd been diligently watching her diet for decades. She ate her vegetables, sipped on prune juice, and avoided excessive dairy. Yet she still found herself backed up more often than she liked. Betty's social life suffered because she was never sure if she'd have the energy or comfort to leave the house. She tried different brand cereals, over-the-counter stool softeners, and even cut out her afternoon tea. Still, the problem persisted. One day she mentioned her frustration to her granddaughter, who was studying psychology. Her granddaughter pointed out something fascinating. Chronic stress can actually slow digestion. When we feel tense, worrying about finances, relationships, or health, our bodies can shift into fight or flight mode. In that mode, digestion is not the body's priority. Everything slows down in the gut, which can lead to or worsen constipation. Betty realized that her concerns about her son's health and her own future were keeping her in a near-constant state of worry. That's when Betty began a simple relaxation practice. Each morning, she set aside 5 minutes, just 5, to close her eyes, breathe slowly, and envision her favorite place in the world, a small garden where she used to grow roses. She pictured the scent of the flowers, the warmth of the sun on her skin, and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. At first, she felt a bit silly, but after a couple of weeks, she noticed she was less tense. And, to her surprise, her bowel movements became more regular, especially when she combined these relaxation moments with her already healthy diet. What Betty discovered is that our nervous system and digestion are closely linked. Stress triggers muscle tension, including the muscles around your abdomen and pelvis. When those muscles are tight, it can be harder for stool to move through smoothly. By actively shifting into a relaxed state, through gentle breathing exercises, meditation, or even listening to soothing music, you encourage your intestines to do their job more efficiently. If you'd like to try this, start small. Just a few minutes in the morning or evening can make a real difference. Find a quiet corner, sit comfortably, and take a few slow breaths. Inhale to a slow count of 4, hold gently for a moment, and exhale to a slow count of 4. It's not a race. Think of it like letting out a long sigh of relief. Your shoulders might relax and your belly might feel softer. That's the goal. Reducing tension in both mind and body. Physically, this practice can help restore a healthier rhythm to your digestive system. Emotionally, it can become a cornerstone of self-care. Feeling calmer often leads to better moods, more restful sleep, and a more optimistic outlook overall. When we're less stressed, we're more open to visiting friends, going on strolls around the block, or pursuing hobbies. Constipation can feel like a barrier to living fully, but consistent relaxation techniques chip away at that barrier by addressing a root cause many people overlook. So here's a small action step. Once you finish listening to me today, set a reminder on your phone or place a sticky note somewhere you'll see it. Write 3 breaths on it, just to remind yourself to pause and take 3 slow, calming breaths, at least once or twice a day. It's a tiny habit, but over time, it can have a surprisingly big impact on your overall well-being. Before we tackle our third major insight, I'd love to know what's on your mind. Are you starting to see how everyday tension might be playing a role in your digestive health? If so, consider experimenting with just one new relaxation habit this week. Even if you're not fully convinced, give it a brief trial. You might find your body responding in ways you never expected. There's yet another assumption many seniors hold, that exercise, especially involving core and pelvic floor muscles, is too strenuous or risky past a certain age. But let's flip that script. Contrary to popular belief, gentle, targeted movement can be a powerful secret weapon against constipation, even if you have mobility challenges or chronic conditions. Meet Rosa, age 85, who has mild osteoarthritis. She'd always been told that strenuous exercise was off the table for her. Too much strain on her hips and knees, her doctors warned. As a result, Rosa figured that any movement beyond slow walking was unsafe. Over time, she began to lose muscle strength in her core, leading to more frequent bouts of constipation and less overall stability. She started feeling stuck, both physically and emotionally. Then Rosa's sister introduced her to a simple seated yoga class offered at a local senior center. This class focused on gentle stretching, seated twists, and light core engagement. Rosa was nervous at first. She worried about hurting herself or making her arthritis worse. But the instructor reassured her that all movements could be modified, and she only had to do what felt comfortable. Within a few weeks, Rosa noticed she wasn't straining as much in the bathroom. Her instructor explained that gentle twisting poses can stimulate the digestive tract and help move waste along. Strengthening her lower abdomen improved blood flow to that region, aiding in digestion. It also gave her better control when she sat or stood up, reducing the chance of feeling strained or off balance. The key insight here is that certain exercises, even if done while seated, can encourage better gut motility and reduce the likelihood of food getting stuck for long periods. By engaging core muscles, you essentially massage your intestines from the outside, promoting a healthier rhythm of contractions on the inside. What's more, each move can be tailored to your fitness level. There's no need for intense workouts or complicated routines. If you're thinking about trying this, start with something as simple as seated marches. Sit comfortably, feet on the ground, and lift one knee slightly toward your chest, then lower it. Switch to the other leg and keep alternating. Go slowly, focus on your breath, and engage your belly gently. Another easy option is the seated twist. Place your left hand on the outside of your right thigh and slowly twist your torso to the right, then switch sides. Always keep your movements slow, controlled, and within a comfortable range. From a physical perspective, this approach helps maintain or improve muscle tone, which is crucial for healthy digestion and overall mobility. You might also find that engaging in gentle movement boosts your energy levels and mood. Emotionally, there's a tremendous sense of empowerment in being able to move your body, even in small ways, to nurture better health. Once you realize that a little daily effort can make a big difference, you might find yourself more motivated to go for that short walk in the evening or join a friend for water aerobics at the local pool. Remember, before starting any new exercise regimen, especially if you have conditions like arthritis, osteoporosis, or heart issues, it's wise to chat with a healthcare professional. They can guide you on safe modifications, but don't let fear or the misconception that it's too late hold you back. Rosa's story is living proof that gentle movement can spark improvements in not only digestive health, but also confidence and enjoyment of daily life. Now take a second to think. Have you been avoiding certain movements because you're concerned about injury or pain? If so, consider exploring a low-impact exercise class in your neighborhood, or ask a friend or family member to help you find beginner-friendly videos online. There's a whole world of supportive, senior-tailored exercise programs that can make a real difference, no matter how old you are or what health challenges you face. By now, you've learned about 3 key pillars that can drastically improve constipation for many older adults. Each one challenges the idea that constipation is an unfixable part of aging. First, we discovered how adjusting your posture with a simple footstool can naturally align your bowels for easier elimination. Then we saw how stress management and relaxation can keep your nervous system from working against your digestive tract. Finally, we explored how gentle, targeted movements, like seated yoga or light core exercises, can help your body stay flexible and support healthy gut motility. Imagine putting these 3 strategies together in your daily routine. It could be as simple as placing a footstool in the bathroom, setting aside a few minutes each morning for slow breathing, and ending the day with a short seated exercise video. With consistent practice, you might notice your bathroom visits become more regular, less strained, and less stressful overall. That's when daily life begins to feel more open again, less limited by the unpredictability of constipation. Life in your 70s and 80s shouldn't be weighed down by constant discomfort or the fear of not knowing when nature will call. Every day that passes without addressing chronic constipation is a day you may not feel your best, physically or emotionally. Yet urgency doesn't have to mean panic. Think of it more like a gentle nudge, reminding you that small changes can create meaningful shifts in your quality of life. When you take action now, you give yourself the best chance to see results sooner, stay active, and enjoy social moments without digestive worries lurking in the background. If you've been picturing yourself trying these steps, you might realize it's not a huge leap. Everyone has a few minutes to spare, whether it's for mindful breathing or a gentle twist in a chair. A small footstool doesn't cost much and can often be found lying around the house. Even if you decide to incorporate just one technique at first, like focusing on better posture in the bathroom, you'll be on the path to easing that heavy, bloated feeling you might have accepted as your new normal. Right now, you can choose between 3 levels of action, depending on your comfort and motivation. 1. Simple start. Commit to using a footstool or adjusting your posture in the bathroom for the next week. Notice any changes in your body. 2. Moderate move. Add a quick relaxation or breathing practice, maybe 5 minutes in the morning or before bedtime. Combine this with your new bathroom posture. 3. Go all in. Dive into a gentle exercise routine. Look up a seated yoga class or a senior fitness video that focuses on core engagement. Pair that with mindful relaxation and proper bathroom posture to maximize results. These calls to action aren't about burdening you with more to do. They're about offering you real options that fit your life. Maybe you have limitations or specific needs that require a bit of adaptation. That's okay. Every step you take, no matter how small, helps you reconnect with your body's natural rhythms. And when your body's in better sync, your mood, energy, and overall outlook often get a lift too. If you're still on the fence, remember Rose's gentle twists, Betty's 5-minute relaxation, and Carl's footstool. None of them made massive, life-altering changes overnight. But by consistently exploring new ways to support their bodies, they found fresh hope in places they never expected. Their stories show that you can respect your age, work around your challenges, and still experience relief and renewal. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought. You have more control over your well-being than you might realize. Yes, it's wise to consult with doctors, especially if you have a complex medical history or advanced conditions. But you also have the freedom to experiment with safe, gentle methods that honor your body's inherent abilities. Trust in your body's resilience, trust in your own judgment, and know that every day is a chance to build a better relationship with your digestion. Above all, remember, this is your journey. You bring to it decades of life experience, perseverance, and wisdom. Honor that. Approach these techniques with curiosity instead of expectation, And you might just find that the surprising secret to easing constipation lies in the simplest changes to how you sit, breathe, and move. You deserve comfort, confidence, and the chance to enjoy the years ahead without the daily burden of digestive discomfort.